I want to start with what is going on internally, and many suggesting here that the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is looking after his own political interests at the moment. He does not want to see the collapse of his government, but he's facing that. What are the specific positions from these right-wing ministers, Gideon? Can you just explain?
So again and again, we realize that what Professor Henry Kissinger diagnosed about Israel decades ago, namely that Israel does not have foreign policy, just domestic politics, is proven in front of our eyes. Because it's very obvious that the only obstacle now is a domestic political obstacle. I cannot see a situation in which two presidents of the United States are standing behind the deal and Netanyahu will retreat. But right now, everything might happen. His government is shaking. And the question is really now a very, very clear one. Life of dozens of hostages or continuing this government. And Netanyahu will have to decide. And if he decides the wrong decision, and there is right and wrong here, then I think history will not forget him.
Gideon, are you saying that, to your mind, he is, and I talk here of the Israeli Prime Minister, damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, as it were?
I can't see him retreating, really. I mean, we are talking, Netanyahu likes always to get his decisions on the very late moment, and if possible, even later. So it will be pushed and pushed and pushed until tomorrow. I think the cabinet will meet only tomorrow. But in the last moment, I don't see for him any way to retreat now. I don't see it. If he will retreat, it will be really a huge, huge fiasco. I can't see him doing it.
We've talked for months, 15 months, about a sense of collective trauma for Israelis after October the 7th. We've reported, daily on the damage, both physically and emotionally, to those who are in Gaza, and the death toll there continues to rise. It's been the largest amount of people killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. So effectively, since this deal was announced, I mean, it is awful on both sides of this. We are hearing suggestions that this, from some Israelis, is a choice between bad and very bad. That view was echoed by the Foreign Minister himself, Gideon Saar, yesterday ahead of the announcement of this deal. What's the alternative at this point? I mean, people have to have some empathy for those who say we just can't leave those hostages behind.
First of all, Becky, I'm very, very happy that you mentioned the sacrifice of both sides, because there is a tendency to speak only about the Israeli hostages. There are hundreds and thousands of Palestinian hostages in Israel in horrible conditions. Haaretz keep on revealing those conditions, and I don't want to compare because I don't know who is in worse condition than who, but we shouldn't forget also the Palestinian hostages, not to speak about the huge price Palestinians of Gaza paid in the last year, and even in the last 24 hours, as you mentioned, which is really so unnecessary. Why to kill 24 women and 19 children on the last day of the war? What does this serve? Will it promote anything in the world except of some bloodthirst? But in any case, we are hopefully on the last stage of it. But both sides will be in long-term trauma. And when we speak about trauma, we have to remember that Israelis will be able to re-establish their lives. How will the people of Gaza re-establish their lives? I really don't know who is going to help them. Where from will they get any kind of aid? It's a big question mark, because the tendency of the world is to forget Gaza very quickly.
Gideon, the next few hours are crucial here. The window is closing for an implementation date of Sunday. there's an awful lot that needs to go into place. If that is going to happen, the negotiators need to get the approval from the Israeli cabinet here, and at present, as we've been discussing, this is delayed. If you were a betting man, one expects, because we understand that Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East, has put an enormous amount of pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister to get this deal done. If you were a betting man, is he going to stick to this deal because he wants the support of Donald Trump going forward? Does he have any idea at this point where Trump's thinking is when it comes to the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu?
It is very clear now that the involvement of Donald Trump was a game changer. Let's not hide it. The day that the American envoy came to Israel last Saturday was the day that Netanyahu had to really change almost all his positions, which he held for the last 8 months at least. And he did so. So my bet would be that it will be very tense until the very last minute, but finally there will be a deal in this weekend.
يسر دولة قطر وجمهورية مصر العربية والولايات المتحدة الأمريكية الإعلان عن نجاح جهود الوساطة المشتركة بوصول طرفي النزاع في قطاع غزة إلى اتفاق بشأن تبادل الأسرى والرهائن والعودة إلى الهدوء المستدام وصولا لوقف دائم لإطلاق النار بين الجانبين، بالإضافة إلى إيصال كميات مكثفة من المساعدات الإنسانية والإغاثية للأشقاء الفلسطينيين في قطاع غزة. ومن بعدها يبدأ تنفيذ الاتفاق في يوم الأحد 19 من يناير، وسيتم تحديد الموعد تنفيذ الاتفاق بالساعة لاحقا. بالنسبة لتفاصيل الاتفاق، فإن المرحلة الأولى من الاتفاق ومدتها 42 يوما ستشهد وقفا لإطلاق النار وانسحاب القوات الإسرائيلية شرقا وبعيدا عن المناطق المكتظة بالسكان للتمركز على الحدود في جميع مناطق قطاع غزة وتبادل الأسرى والرهائن وفق آلية محددة وتبادل رفات المتوفين وعودة النازحين إلى أماكن سكناهم، وتسهيل مغادرة المرضى والجرحى لتلقي العلاج. كما تتضمن المرحلة الأولى أيضا تكثيف إدخال المساعدات الإنسانية وتوزيعها الآمن والفعال على نطاق واسع في جميع أنحاء قطاع غزة، وإعادة تأهيل المستشفيات والمراكز الصحية والمخابز، وإدخال مستلزمات الدفاع المدني والوقود، وإدخال مستلزمات إيواء النازحين الذين فقدوا بيوتهم بسبب الحرب. حسب الاتفاق ستطلق حماس في المرحلة الأولى سراح 33 محتجزا إسرائيليا بما يشمل النساء المدنيات والمجندات والأطفال وكبار السن والمرضى والجرحى المدنيين، مقابل عدد من الأسرى الفلسطينيين في السجون الإسرائيلية ومراكز الاعتقال. أما تفاصيل المرحلتين الثانية والثالثة فسيتم إنهاء الاتفاق عليها خلال تنفيذ المرحلة الأولى.
How much confidence do you have that the deal will progress beyond phase one, sir?
Well, we have faith, Becky, that brought us to this moment, and I think that's the most important part, that we are committed. We will continue to do everything we can, everything possible, together with our partners to ensure that this deal is implemented as it's agreed, and this deal will bring us peace, hopefully, at the end of it. I believe that it all depends on the parties of the agreement and acting in good faith in that agreement in order to ensure that no collapse happening to that deal.
Can I just follow up? What mechanisms are in place to ensure that neither side breaks the ceasefire?
There is a follow-up mechanism that Egypt, Qatar and US are going to handle. It will be placed in Cairo. And this follow-up actually will be a joint team from the three countries that will monitor the implementation of the agreement, and everything is being agreed upon and will be in place hopefully on the day of the execution.